Welcome to the Energy and Hours podcast, formerly called the Grow Like a Mother podcast. I'm your host, Jill Wright, author of Happy, Healthy, Wealthy, and Wise, and creator of the Time Magic Seasonal Planner. On this podcast, we talk about time and energy management tips that we can use to flow through our day in a way that feels more aligned. We focus a lot on how to use cyclical energy, seasonal cycles. We talk about productivity. We talk about self-care. We talk about rest. It all comes together in what I like to say is time magic. And if you tune into these episodes week after week, you're going to get a half an hour punch of tools, tips, and strategy advice for you to go and implement right away in your day to make your life feel a little bit more like you and a little bit less stressful. Welcome back to Energy and Hours. I'm your host, Jill, and today I'm here with my friend Briaa, who is a multiple business owner and mom of three, and we are going to be talking about how we juggle it all as moms, as business owners, when the energy can get crazy, what we can do, how she fell into this work, and a lot of the cool things that she's got going on. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Yeah, I would love to start just by sort of landing the listeners in a little bit of your story. Like, you have been running businesses for a long time,
Hmm.
starting with the hair business, and that sort of launched you into this new world of energy work, energetics, that type of thing. So bring us back to the beginning and up to speed on what this path has looked like for you to get to where you're at.
Oh gosh. Okay. I became a mom when I was 17, which is crazy because like I'm only going to be 32, so that's crazy that I even like my daughter's going to be 15 and I'm like I cannot imagine you having a kid. um so we yeah, so I had my daughter when I was 17. I registered for hair school, and I loved it. I fell in love with doing hair. I loved making people look and feel their best and getting to talk to people. I'm very chatty, so it was kind of like the perfect job for me. When I called my mom and told her I was registering for hair school, she's like, "Oh, I'm not surprised at all because you just talk forever." So that was really cool. And then I worked a lot in the hair industry. I really loved it. I got to work under some really great people. I had a really good boss. And then COVID hit. And after COVID, I felt like there was this big shift in energy in the salons and in the space. And I was dabbling in energy work and Reiki and things like that, but I wasn't super knowledgeable. And throughout COVID, you're kind of isolated. So I kind of just was forced to be with my thoughts and be with myself. Our industry kind of got obliterated in the sense of like, we have the highest sanitization laws, the maximum amount of credentials that you could have in situations like that, and we still weren't allowed to work. So after that, I started going through like learning more about energy and how to show up for people because I was so drained at the end of the day and I never understood why. Um, I think a lot more people are empathetic than they think they are. And having that, like certain people, when they touch me, I'm like a sponge. I just absolve all of their energy. And I never understood why. And when I'm working in your hair, that's like a really sacred thing. And so throughout all of that process, I started working in energy work, and I opened my first business, which was Ascending Priestess. And we're coming up on our five. Well, it was like 2021, I guess, by the time I finally opened, but we're coming up on our 5-year anniversary, March 22nd, which is just so crazy. And then I started practicing more. But when I first opened Ascending Priestess, the idea was that it was going to be an online boutique and apothecary and a community space where people would come and they would gather and kind of get like witchcraft on a budget or anything like that that they needed, things to connect them to spirit, things that connect them to energy work, but without feeling like they had to dig very deep in their pockets. And so that's how it started. And then I kind of changed things. So sorry. I kind of changed things a lot throughout the years. And I had done markets and I'd make candles and I do all of those things. And the last 3 years, I really spent a lot of time like, so I had a couple kids in between then, and my newest last one, he's going to be 3 in July. And throughout that process, I started diving deeper into the energy work, and I was still doing hair and trying to figure out how I was going to incorporate these two things because I was still feeling so drained after being with someone for 5, 6 hours, 7 hours. That's a big job. You get to know people in a way that a lot of people don't. Like, your hairstylist is like they're like a therapist, that you go, they get to be with you through death and graduation and this, and they meet your kids and they meet your mom and they meet your dad and they get to be a part of the family without like being a part of the family. And that was something I felt so beautiful, but I didn't know how to incorporate my offerings through Reiki and other things in hair because spirituality is such a like, whoa, don't talk about that. Um, and so after all of that, I took a step back in the hair business. I opened a cleaning company and I kind of poured a lot of energy into that. And now it's built up and it's really cool. And we blend cleaning and cleansing. So we'll do a good deep clean of your house, then we'll cleanse the energy, or we'll sound bathe in your house, or whichever, to kind of shift the energies in your house, because I wanted to align like your physical, your mental, and your space as well. And so that's kind of, now when I think about it, it's so funny that I'm here because everything kind of is all seamless and they all go together. Like hair is your physical, and then working in your energy, doing Reiki and offering soul profiling retreats, like workshops, things like that, and then doing the physical aspect of cleaning is just kind of helping people from literally the inside out. And that was something that was so important to me growing up. And now I'm here, and yeah, it's a lot.
It's so funny how life can take us on these full circle journeys and we don't know in the moment what the purpose is. It just like you follow the breadcrumb.
Yeah.
And you're like, okay, I'm learning a new thing or building a new skill or building a new business in your case. And when you can look back and identify like, oh, this all came together for this one, like I learned all these skills so I could be this thing.
Mm-hmm.
That's super cool, but you must be very busy.
It's so busy. So I have 3 kids, and my oldest I share custody of. So she's home every other week. So like one week it's really chaotic, then the next week it's like more calm, but still kind of chaotic because we have the 2 boys, and my middle one's going to be going into basketball and into soccer this year because now he's going to be 9. So it's we're working through all of these things, and it's so crazy because I always said like I'm never going to be the mom that has like 2,000 things going on. And here I am with 3,000 things going on, but in the best way. I find I compartmentalize a lot of my time through different avenues. So I have my cleaning clients that I do in the morning. I work on my own admin in the evening. And then, like usually way late in the evening. And then in between that 5 to 9 block, I'm with my kids. And there's sometimes a gap in the afternoon where I get to do my energy work, or I get to work with people. Or if I'm not cleaning that day, then I get to fill that day doing my energy work or hair or whichever. I know online it looks like it's probably I'm doing too much, but I think it works for me. I have ADHD, so it's helpful to have lots of things on the go. I feel like I focus a lot better having multiple avenues. And things that spark my creativity and that I'm able to kind of pour into in a way that is like both beautiful and helpful, because I really just love giving back and I love doing all of that. So,
Yeah, I think there's this, I've been thinking about this a lot lately, this sort of slow productivity, anti-hustle messaging that we're hearing. It kind of discounts those of us who are super ambitious and like having a lot on the go. And it can, I feel this way anyways, like I can often feel like, oh, maybe I shouldn't want all these things. And maybe I shouldn't be as busy, even though, like you said, it's things that pour into you. Like you're doing things because you love them and they bring you energy and it suits your style, especially if you have ADHD. It makes sense that there's multiple things going on, that you're staying busy. So just sort of for anyone listening and for us, like as ambitious, high performing people, permission that that's okay too. And like, yes, it's important to rest and slow down and take care of ourselves so that we can perform at the level we want. But I don't think there's anything innately wrong with being multifaceted, you know?
yeah, and I think that there's this big there's a lot of energy in this space right now where people are very like comfortable telling other people what the heck they should be doing
Uh-huh.
with their time and with their energy. I don't spend 5 hours watching TV. I don't like, I do doom scroll. I'm not going to pretend I don't. I get caught up in that too, but I focus my time and energy on things that matter to me and that things that are important. And so I think that there's a lot of people who are like, you shouldn't. And it's like, how about we just stop telling people what to do and
Yeah.
let them do what works for them?
Yeah,
Because I
absolutely.
think we like, I don't know, maybe for if it's like this for you, but for me, like I do have slow days where I just take those pauses and I take that time and I'm very intentional and being present in that time. That block that I'm with my kids, I'm very present and it's important to me. So that feels like I'm slowing down enough to be in it with them and focus with them and be silly and be goofy and do all of those things. And then I get to wear my other hats throughout the day. And, my partner is very supportive. I'm so thankful for him because I could not do this without him. And he wears just as many hats. And, then my kids, like, I talk to them a lot and I'm like, and I'm very real with them about like growing a business and what this looks like. And, I know it sucks. And for certain things, like I'm not always like there in the sense, but like my spirit is there with you and I'm texting you before and after each game and things like that. Or I try not to miss anything that my kids are doing because they are my priority. But sometimes if I have somebody who calls in sick or something else, I have to show up and fill that space because we don't always, like that's your responsibility. And I think, yeah, there's a lot of energy in this space where there's a lot of people telling other people how they should slow down and live their life. And I think that there is a good balance between like the toxic hustle culture and slow productivity and moving through life like that. Like winter is the time we're meant to slow down and curate and whatever. And then as we move into spring, we're allowed to ramp up. And like that's why it's usually the busiest season for people because they have spring and summer where people are out and they're thriving and energy is like you feel the city breathing in those moments. Right. And then you go back inwards during the fall and you kind of start to get cozy again. And then you go through the winter and that's where you build and that's where you like slow down and that's where you curate your time, at least for me anyway.
Yeah, I like this idea of seasonal living too, and that's why I did the planner like I did in 90-day chunks is because like the energy changes more quickly than we anticipate sometimes. And sometimes you're going to be in a season like not a physical season, but like a season of life for longer periods, and that's fine too, but understanding that you're not locked into being go, 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 or slow, slow, slow for any particular amount of time, that there's flow with it. It can be really helpful, especially for
Yeah.
people who are making like routine changes or habits or decisions that can impact something in their schedule. Like it can be for a short amount of time and you can try something and that's okay. Like
Yeah.
things are going to change and shift. That's how it
Yeah.
goes.
And I think that's important. I think that, we have more access to more information than we've ever had as a civilization now. And so I think that's why it's so strange to people to be like, oh, now she's doing this and now she's doing that. And it's like, I've always been doing 10 things. You just are only seeing it now because I'm willing to showcase that kind of thing.
Yeah.
And I love the idea of your planner because I think that it's so good to develop micro habits rather than like, okay, Monday, I'm going to work out and I'm going to eat right and I'm going to be the best mom and my business is going to take, and I'm going to da, 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 and do all of those things when like the micro habits are what matters. So if you just start working out tomorrow instead of Monday and you just start changing like just a little bit of all of these little things, how those micro habits show up, especially for me, like with ADHD, I find it so helpful to have micro habits versus this like impending list of doom that like if I don't achieve this thing, then I'm going to start my shame spiral all over again of like all the stuff that I'm not doing that I should be doing and that, that I'm beating myself up over it. And it just doesn't, I feel like it's not productive and I like to maximize my productivity. So
Yeah, you've got such self-awareness around what works for you and like tools that you're using that you've mentioned so far throughout this episode, like time blocking and different ways of managing what you have going on so that you don't get overwhelmed, so that you can continue to manage all these things. And I think that's really cool to see because a lot of people will struggle, and not to say that you don't struggle, and I know I do struggle even though we're busy. And some days are harder than others, but having some tools that work for you that you know you can go to, I mean, I think that makes all the difference,
I
you
think
know?
it's really important to sit with yourself and have an honest conversation because the moment you stop feeling, I'm going to sound probably brash by saying this, but the moment you stop internalizing your guilt and your shame as like these things that you're a horrible person and you did all these horrible things. And if you don't achieve this list, then that makes you like all of the things, all the triggers that come up that spew, the things that live rent free in your head. It's just like, just be honest with yourself and figure out what works for you. Like when, okay, so before COVID hit, I was struggling a lot with like mental health. I was a young mom. I grew up in poverty. I went through all of this stuff. And something that was really small that I did for me every day was make my bed. And it's so small and it's so silly. And anytime somebody comes to me and they're telling me like, oh, I'm having a really hard time with just like I'm like, make your bed every day, because no matter what happens at the end of the day, then you go home and you're like, at least I made my bed today. And it's that small little victory. And that's when it started and everything shifted for me. And then I got to the point where I needed to map out my time. So it sounds crazy, but there was a period of time where I blocked out like from 6 to 6:30, this is what my morning looked like. From 6:30 to 7:30, this is what my morning looked like. And I blocked out almost every hour of my day. For 6 months, I did that. And people thought I was crazy. They're like, oh, you can't because of this. And I was like, yes, I can't because I'm doing this. And like, this has to happen. And so I have to just stick to my plan right now because it's keeping me, it added automation, it added predictability, which helped my ADHD. It helped my routine. And someone who grew up without a routine and having ADHD, it made it very challenging to develop those habits. And even now, I still struggle with those things. And so I wanted to make sure that I was able to do those little tips that like, those small micro habits. Like I had a reminder set on my phone. Oh, 7:30, it would go off and it would tell me like get the kids to school or do breakfast or whatever it was at the time. And anytime I find myself spiraling or struggling, I go back to that. I mean, the work now for me is deeper than it was then. And so I have to make sure that I'm honoring that. But I'm going back to those little things that recentered me and grounded me. I don't think that those things are talked about enough. And, even your root chakra, like that was developed in your mom's womb. Your nervous system is regulated to your mom's nervous system before you're even born, who is related to her mom's nervous system and her mom's nervous system. And those things aren't talked about enough in these spaces where, everyone's like, I'm so dysregulated. I'm trying to da 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 da. And it's like, what can we do to just like help ease you? Like, what is one thing that you can commit to every single day that's for you? For me, it was something as small as making my bed. Now it's like, for me, it was now my thing is self care. So, like, what's one thing I can do for myself where, like, I can, I was a hairstylist that, like, was kind of tomboyish and I grew up with brothers. So I was like rough. Um, and I hated doing my hair. I have big curly hair. It's long. It's a lot to blow dry every day. It's a lot to manage. And in those spaces, especially, you're taught to like have everything sleek and smooth and so flat. And I couldn't do it. And so finally now, like I wear my hair down and I intentionally make this time every morning. I spend 20 minutes every morning just taking time to like get my face on and just do my hair and these small, small things. Like they're very small things. And when you justify it as like, I don't have time, it's like, you do. You're just spending your time doing other things that you're prioritizing, which is totally okay, but it's not a time, in my opinion, it's not a time issue, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So many of our time issues are actually priority issues, and that's a whole it's a whole rabbit hole, but you're totally right. Like we
Yeah.
all have the same 24 hours, right? And we get to decide how we spend it. I want to dive into the latest offering that you've got that's very exciting that helps other people sort of get this regulation and self-love, care, support, like all of this all in one really beautiful curated package. Can you talk to us about the retreat a little bit?
Yes. So, this is my first like advertised out there in your face retreat because normally I just have a group of friends that I do it with. And so we're going to be doing a feminine rage workshop, which I think so many people need right now. And it's not, I think as women, we're taught to not just be quiet and don't be angry. And when you're angry, it makes you look mean. And you can be angry because anger is sadness, really. And I think that that is never spoken about. So we're going to be doing a feminine rage workshop, which I think is going to be so beautiful. We'll have a couple other workshops. I have somebody coming in to be cooking nutritious and delicious meals. I'll plug her. Her name is Daniela. She is Chef on Facebook. She's lovely. So she's going to come in and curate an intentional menu for us. We have a sound bath. There's going to be a sauna. The idea of the retreat is so people can rest and recharge and be cared for rather than taking care of everyone else. This winter feels like it's been 900 days. And so I'm hoping that doing it in June, it's like right when it starts to get warm, it's before the bugs. We had a little date shift there, but doing it in June, I think is the perfect time. And it's just aligning so beautifully with everything, both spiritually, like in the planets, all of the things, all of the, as we step into this new energy. And it's just, yeah, it's going to be so, so beautiful. I can't wait to hold space. I have, it's going to be 3 days. Sorry, I'm going through the whole like list in my head. So it'll be 3 days. We arrive on the Friday and we'll be doing a fire ceremony to release, and then we'll go through the process. I'll tell everyone what we're doing over the weekend because there's some stuff that's a surprise. And then on Saturday, our day is packed full of amazing things. I have another friend coming in to do a sound bath, which is going to be amazing. She's so good. And her sound baths are so dreamy because they're not like, I actually feel the energy move through my body when she does them. So it'll be really cool to see what she's doing with that. And then Sunday we close up, but the priority of all of this is to recharge. As women, as moms, we are always on. It's a woman's only retreat. So just having that space where we can come together and connect as a sisterhood. And, I think women especially, we struggle with community because we've been ousted or we have been cast aside or told we're not enough or any of those things. And so the idea is to really build this beautiful space where women can come together and you just come as you are, however that may be. And yeah.
Oh, it sounds so nourishing, and just what we all need,
It's like
especially,
food for the soul. Yeah.
yeah, especially coming out of this winter because you're right. It's like one of these winters where I remember my childhood being like this, but for the last 15 years, we haven't had a proper, like, quote, proper winter in Ottawa, and now it's back with a vengeance, you know?
Yeah, really. It's like,
As I was,
I'll show you.
yeah, I was shoveling my driveway before I came to hop on with you, and it's just like, okay, did anything happen to my hair with the snow and all the things that, oh,
And
yeah,
you have curly
winter's,
hair, so it's like a rule of thumb. I was gonna blow up my hair this morning, and then I looked outside and I was like, nope, absolutely pointless.
yeah,
Every time it's like a rule of thumb. If I don't check the weather and I blow up my hair, it immediately rains or snows that day. And I'm like,
yes,
okay, universe, I'll just let it be.
just let it be,
Yeah.
just let it be. Wow. There's so much good stuff. For anyone who's listening who doesn't know where we are, we're based in Ottawa, Ontario, Canada. So this is a retreat that if you're local is very accessible, but also if you're listening from somewhere else and you want to go somewhere for a retreat, a wonderful place to visit in June. If you're going to visit Ottawa, you don't do it in February, you do it in June. It's the perfect time.
We're gonna
Um,
host it, sorry to cut you off. We're
yeah.
gonna be hosting it just across the river in Cantley. I found this like dreamy space. They have actual like ceremony room to
Mm.
do meditation and yoga and everything in that space. Um, which yeah, it's gonna be
Yeah.
so good.
Ugh, perfect. Perfect, perfect, perfect.
It's gonna be
And
so good.
you are very generously offering a discount to the listeners of this podcast as well. So if you're listening and you're wanting to check it out, I will make sure that all of the links are in the show notes, and the discount code and all of that. And you can get in touch with Briaa and ask any questions if you're not sure, whatever, if it's for you, ask because if it's calling you and you're feeling drawn to it, there's a reason. And it's not often that we say yes to giving ourselves this time that is solely dedicated to resting and rejuvenating and community and connection. It's a rare thing for a mom or a woman to say yes to that and to invest the time, energy, and money in themselves. And so, just calling anyone who's listening to follow that and to be brave about it and to prioritize yourself, because the more, and we hear this all the time, the more that we pour into ourselves, the more we can pour into others. And if that is the ultimate goal, for you, which it is for many of us, like we judge ourselves or compare ourselves against how we can show up for other people very often.
And I think too that like this space, because it's for women by women, whether you're a mom or a fur mom or just a woman doing her best, I think having this space to come together and meeting other women that might not be in the same like quote unquote season, but have similar like similarities to what you've either dealt with or are going through is going to put so much comfort in knowing that you're not alone. And that is something that is so just important for this. And then I wanted to mention too, so in Canada in March and April, I also have two workshops coming up for people who are like, oh, like the retreat sounds great, but it might be a little much for me right now, or not really sure, because spiritual boundaries are very important. And so making sure that you trust your practitioner. And now that I'm finally putting myself out there, a lot of people are like, who is this girl and where did she come from? I promise I've been in this space for a long time. I'm just really shy. So getting myself out there now. But yeah, so I will also give you all of those details too to plug all of that.
Yes, absolutely. That sounds amazing. And I like these little easy entry, like get your feet wet opportunities to connect with you, meet you in person, get your vibe, learn from you. If somebody is interested in connecting with you before that, the workshops, or isn't local, where's the best place for them to find you?
So they can find me on ascendingpriestess.com or ascending priestess on Facebook or Instagram. I'm not on LinkedIn and I'm not on X. Sorry. I'm working on it, but yeah, those are the best places. They through the website, there's a spot called Healing and Alignment. They can find workshops, retreats, everything in there. There's also an Eventbrite posted with both, and it has all the pricing as well. Through the actual website, we offer a payment plan. Through the Eventbrite, there is not an option to offer a payment plan, but for anybody who needs something like that and wants to attend but are constrained by budget, they can just reach out to me directly and I'm happy to set something up for them.
Amazing. Thank you for all of the work that you are doing in this world, and thank you for sharing vulnerably with us today. I think it makes such an impact to hear the story of like a real life woman doing all the things and following her dreams and making it happen even when it's messy, even when things change, even, through being busy and having multiple roles. It's really I love sharing these stories because we can all hear a little bit of ourselves in it, and it sort of reminds us, oh yeah, it's okay, and I'm not the only one doing this, and there are opportunities to connect with other people who can either support me or who can understand me. And so it's just been really great having you on. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. I think we're all just little girls trapped in grown up bodies that just need a hug and need to just be with our friends and make potions and have a good time. So,
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. Well, thank you again. And for everyone who's still with us at the end of this episode, thank you for listening. Share it with your friends. Please share about the retreat and the workshops. And let us know that you heard about Briaa here on the website and or here on the podcast. And you can tag us on Instagram or drop us a note and let us know what landed the most with you today. So until next week, keep on growing like a mother.